What's up, Big Steve?
Shout out Mikey Bisbin. DWCS Contender Series, Episode 8. We're on the home stretch now. Home stretch. 3 episodes, including this one. We're going to try and end it with a bang, make as much profit as possible. Did we make profit last week? Yes, we did. Let's quickly get over that, and then we can move on to this card, right? So last week was a big week for me. 2 weeks ago, I lost 1,300. Pretty much all my profits that I gathered in the season by carefully betting, and it was just I went through a little period of a tilting experience. I was very reckless. Included a lot of money lost on boxing, and then a really irresponsible bet on Lee in the main event against Sosa. And after that I reset. I said, all right, we've got 3 episodes. Let's reset. And it was a very important episode for me to profit. So I was very disciplined, very selective. I pretty much just had one play. I had Chase and Chavez at $2.70, and I'm like, I don't know how you can take this fight. And Sofia Montenegro, she has 2 losses. In one of her losses, she was knocked out cold in like under 30 seconds. In other wins, she's like getting hurt and almost finished. And I get Chavez beat no one and hasn't fought anyone, and she was like 30. But it's like, I don't know how you can watch that and see this Sofia girl is going to cover minus 200, right? There was many aspects, right? It's a low women's MMA. It's both of their debuts in DWCS Contender Series America, and massive chin issues. I didn't really watch this card properly. I was in the hospital, so I just caught round 2 when Chavez hurt her at the end. But I heard that she ate crap in round 2, and then I thought she won round 3. And people saying robbery, maybe I got lucky there, but apparently round 1 was close. So to me, if round 1 was close and I thought she won round 3 based off damage, it's fine. But either way, good bet. I had just a bit over half a unit to win 600. So, yeah. But in terms of what else I liked, I kind of considered Oliveira the big underdog because Tobias is so bad. But I realized he's a striker at almost 30 years of age. So he probably doesn't have any ground game at all. Tobias took him down, submitted him. Very hard fight to play. Massive favorite. The under was massive favorite, and a lot of question marks. Javier Reyes, I kind of regret this one. My friend Breaking Bad Boxing asked me what was the lock. I said Reyes was the lock, and he did it. I said even if he went to a decision, it would be competitive, but he would still win. So maybe I should have bit the bullet and laid the chalk there. Chavez, obviously, I bet. And this one as well, Magomedov. I like Zercha upon tape, and then as I mentioned on the pod, as I thought about it more, these young Magomedovs from that region, when they're 25, 26, they already have so much athleticism and heart and grappling, and then they just have to figure out some things. And he had a lot of hardware. And did I think he would knock out Zercha in under 2 minutes? No, but I thought he would. He has a lot more potential in the UFC, so I regretted that one a little bit. And the main event, I didn't plant my flag on either one. I thought either guy could die in the first round, and maybe I should have looked at the under 1.5 rounds. But ultimately, my favorite bet, Chavez. Didn't bet anything else. Lessons learned: don't play low women's MMA minus 200 chalk that don't have any chin. Big bet. Blind underdog bets only hit ever so often on DWCS. Don't do it this week. What do you mean by blind? I've done my tape, my friend. And they win all the time, man. What do you mean? What do you mean? But yeah, didn't watch. Maybe you mean I didn't watch the card. All right, lessons and regrets. Yeah, a couple of regrets. Not playing Reyes, not playing Magomedov, that one, and not playing the under 1.5 in the main event. Alrighty, but profit was secured. I'm now either break even or in profit, which gives me 2 weeks or 3 weeks to smash it. And I'm trying to bring on my old guest Subliminal MMA. We've done the last 2 seasons together before this one. He should be able to do episode 9 and 10, but at the same time, my wife is meant to be due today or tomorrow. I don't think it's going to happen, but if it happens any of these, before next week, I could be out from the YouTube game for a bit. So we'll see. I'm looking to bring him on, but yeah, I see a lot of people, a lot of cappers not having the greatest Dana White Contender Series here, and they're saying they're trying to quit and stuff. We don't breed quitters here, right? If you're a good capper, you can profit on anything. So we'll smash it. We'll smash it this week, next week, and the week after. Local man shakes fist. Any chance we can sift through some PFL fights? Maybe. See how I feel. Rashid Vagabov versus Paulo de Silva. Yeah, interesting fight. I played the over 1.5 rounds here. Paulo de Silva, not much tape on him. And I should say, I'm doing a competition. I'm doing a competition for making over 200K in 7 years of gambling. And it's going to be related to posting a winning bet for this card in the comments. Right? So keep an eye out. I'll talk about it later. Yeah, Rashid, he's one of these guys. I think he's from Khabib's camp. Grappler. He's got some submission upside. Pretty athletic. We've seen his archetype many times. He's lost twice. He lost to some other 10-0 guy back in the day and got submitted by Mansur Malachev, who is in 1FC, a title contender. He's a very good fighter. Got guillotined by him. Not much shame in that. 4 years ago now. So what was he, like 23? He's a good enough fighter. He's quite well-rounded. He's a massive favorite, and it makes sense because, Paulo de Silva is young, 23, 11-1. A lot of his wins are low level Brazilian guys that he's run through. And he's lost to this first 8-3 guy. I don't know what they're doing, matching up a young 0-0 kid with an 8-3 experienced veteran, but they did that. And yeah, then his last fight with Hugo Piper, honestly, I thought he lost. They gave him a split decision, and he got taken down in round 1 by a striker. And then in round 2, he got dropped, and then he dropped him. And then round 3 was very, very slim margin. So I understand it. Rounds 2 and 3, you can say both got dropped, and it's up to the ref to see who got the worst of it. And then round 3 was a 50-50 round, so I can understand him winning 2 and 3 based off really low percentage scoring, but it still felt like a robbery. It felt like Piper won round 1 clear. He dropped him first in round 2, but just unfortunate. So he couldn't really get any takedowns on Piper. So I feel like he might struggle to get some takedowns on Vagabov, but yeah, ultimately, I'm just fading either one of these guys getting a sub in under 1.5 rounds or a KO. So, yeah, if you look at Rashid's record, a lot of these guys, like the 23-6 that he subbed, the 9-3 that he subbed, they're all bums, and they're getting subbed and finished a lot. They're just kind of padded records. So, yeah, I have a unit on the over 1.5, $1.65. Honestly, thought that could maybe be minus 200, but I'm kind of contemplating Paulo. I'm contemplating because the line is insane, and Rashid leaves his head in a lot of guillotines. Even since he's been submitted by Malachev, he fought this Alexei Kim, couldn't finish him, and he was in a deep guillotine in every single round, 1, 2, and 3. Obviously, round 3, Kim was a bit tired, so he was never going to hit it. But round 1 and 2, it's just the way he goes for his takedowns. He leaves his head on the outside, but yeah. I locked in that over to 1.5. I think it's going to be a competitive fight. He might just go over, but Paulo de Silva, he looked good at weigh-ins, so I think this kid might be scrappy. Alrighty, Curtis Campbell, Demba Seck. Right, Curtis Campbell from FCC, not the best English regional scene, but he's got some good grappling. He looks very not physical, very soy. I mean, look at him, but and he has like a point fighting striking style, and he just uses that to close the distance, go for takedowns. Really good jiu-jitsu, somewhat solid control. A lot of these guys are getting up, and he's just mat returning him. So, and the main thing is he has great cardio. He's a massive favorite. It makes sense. He's more tested. He's fought guys like Teddy Stringer, who's in Cage Warriors, and some of these other guys kind of have nice records. So that's where we're at. And then Demba, we've got an African, an extremely athletic African, 5'10" at featherweight, big reach, and honestly, I get why he's the underdog. Like, he's just one fight ago this year, he's going to a split against the 2-2, and he's lost the split to a 5-2 and the 1-0, and it's all grappling based. So Kurtis is going to come, he's going to close the distance, and Demba, he's 31. He's obviously a finished product, and he's going to put on the grind on him, right? But I can't say that I wasn't at least a little bit tempted on Demba just seeing how much more athletic he is. The typical African considerations. Just these guys, they're a lot worse than a lot of the opponents they beat, just because they're so explosive, right? But I don't even know about his power. Like, his power is nothing amazing. He likes to grapple himself, so I just don't think he should be engaging Kurtis Campbell in a grappling fight. So yeah, I contemplated the dog. I don't know. He feels kind of forced. There's a lot of these underdogs that you want to force because it's Dana White Contender Series. This one feels forced, but again, it's another big line. I'm kind of considering the over 1.5 rounds. It's basically, Kurtis Campbell, just grapple him and survive. Don't finish him in under 1.5. But even that is a bit sweaty because a bunch of these fights that went over, he had like a rear naked choke, and Demba is getting like Seck, pardon me, he's getting like mounted, getting his back taken, just by much lower level fighters. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm considering the over 1.5, and I considered the dog, but I couldn't do it. Big bet. I mean, Brazilian is going to be taken down every time Russian shoots. I mean, do we know that? Is there strong tape that suggests that the Silva has that much worse wrestling? They're obviously both grapplers. Local man shakes fist. Do you think his glasses are real or part of his nerd? I mean, they're definitely real, man. You see how much they magnify his eyeballs. It's crazy. He's a nerd. He's a classical nerd. Musasa walked so Deck could run. Musasa is actually someone with potential. That's the thing. And he's younger. Speaking of Africans with potential, Christopher Alvidrez versus Eliezer Kubanza. Kubanza's an animal, right? Some of us bet him in Brave. He's been coming through a lot. He's just built like a brick shithouse. I think if Kubanza was signed tomorrow, he would do quite well in the UFC. Not quite well, but he'll be UFC ready. He's, again, just freak athlete, a lot of power, and very composed. That's the thing, very, very composed. But like a lot of these Africans, his biggest weakness, he kind of seems complacent in there. And this last guy that he fought, Zagid Galdarov, he's a Sambo champion. That was his best win and his best opponent. Obviously, he lost to this Gadzimurad Magomedov as well. But I can't find that tape. He's got a lot of IMFF losses, but they're like almost 10 years ago. Obviously, he got grappled, you can assume. So this Salamat guy, it looks like a good record, 6-1, but he's not. He's like 6-3 now, whatever it is. But this guy, Galadrov, really competitive fight. Galadrov was like tagging him in rounds 1 and 2, and he took him down. And, Kubanza just plods forward and he's eating the shots on his head. And it's a bit like Musasa, and it's also a bit like Onana in the UFC, right? Onama. He's just always getting rocked. He got rocked by Santos and by Mason Jones, and everyone rocks Onama, and he just comes back. And they just they have horrible striking defense, but a really good African chin. So yeah, that's the only weakness I really noticed with Kubanza, but he can improve. And he basically won that fight by getting on top of Gadarov and landing some brutal ground and pound in rounds 2 and 3, and he got a 29-28 decision. So he's got a lot to learn still. Speaking of this, Christopher Alvidrez, I taped this guy, and I'm like, where did I tape this guy before? His face is so familiar. And I looked at the tape, and it's like Karate Combat, LFX, XFC. I don't think I did tape this guy. Maybe I was just imagining things. He was meant to fight Joe. No, he just might have that face. But yeah, this guy is a scrapper. I'll describe him as a scrapper. Really big reach. He looks like he has a massive wingspan. And he looked like he had a touch of death. I watched this fight where Alberto Gonzalez KO'd him. And then I looked at other fights, and I'm like, okay, doesn't really have a touch of death. He just got that 3 and 6 bum out of there. Yeah, his game is just to be scrappy. His game comes forward, brawls, swings, mixes in takedowns. I don't really like his wrestling. There's a lot of fights where he ends up on his back, almost like pulling guard, but failing takedowns. And yeah, that's it. He just comes forward, scraps, puts on the burners, and wants to get you out of there. He knocked out Takashi Sato, who's chinny, ex-UFC guy, but I wasn't really impressed with that. It was a massive combination against the cage. I thought he might have one punch KO'd him. Alberto Gonzalez, whatever, and all these guys, CFFC, Rent, he knocked him out with a nice combination, and he ran through, Marcus Walton, who's just another bum as well. He's like 3-5 now with all round one knockout losses. His one loss, Gabriel Mazzetti. I don't really think he lost that fight. It was quite competitive, but he was very bloodied up. So yeah, just a scrappy guy. In terms of odds, Kubanza's the favorite. It makes sense. A big African dude fighting in Brave, actually winning in Brave. It makes sense as opposed to this Alvidrez guy that's very, very scrappy and he looks quite beatable. So it makes perfect sense to me, but I'm not really interested in this $1.40 line on Kubanza. Like I said, he's got his own weaknesses. I would say this would be the best opponent he's ever beat. Maybe neck and neck with that guy in Brave, the Sambo specialist. The one fight to me, the one bet here that's sticking out is the under. A little bit worse than -200. A little bit worse than Pick'em, pardon me. $1.90. Kubanza's obviously knocked out many guys under. Alvidrez has finishes under 1.5, like 3-4. But a lot of them are bums and a lot of them are chinny guys. So that's my issue here. Also, will Alvidrez fight like a crazy man on rabies against someone like Kubanza? We've seen that Kubanza can be stumbled. And Kubanza, when he just fought someone decent, he went to a decision recently. So there's a typical, a big jump in level of competition for both these guys from finishing bums in under 1.5 rounds. Will it happen here? Will Alvidrez fight a little bit different, a little bit more patient, so he's not going to get sparked in the first round? Because in the last fight that he lost, he got busted up, he got cut up. So yeah, we'll see. But the under 1.5, if I had to play anything, I'll play that. Correlates with Kubanza in my opinion, but I think Alvidrez, if he comes out super aggressive, he could do it. Alrighty. Jourdain, Magno Diaz. What do we got for comments? Anything interesting? This is probably the most skilled dog on board, but fighting probably the most skilled fighter on the card. Maybe Chris Kerr. Yeah. Chris round 1 maybe. Sneaky over if Kubanza grapples. Yeah, that's the thing. Kubanza doesn't mind grappling, and Alvidrez is not hard to take down. I don't think Alvidrez has any sort of high-level martial arts background because he doesn't look like he stands out anyway. All right, Jourdain, the younger brother of Charles Jourdain, the UFC fighter, making his debut. I like his game. He's a bit nicer on the eye, Lewis, and he's been grappled before. All his losses, 2 losses, but via rear naked choke, and one other guy in UAE Warriors that grappled him, but he's got good submission defense. You watch some of these fights back in the day against Tony Laramie. He's really good at escaping the armbar. Goes straight to the hitchhiker, which is impressive. He's like 18 back then. Fun little fact: he fought Tony Laramie, who is the younger brother of TJ Laramie, and TJ Laramie and Charles Jourdain, the 2 older brothers, fought on the regional scenes like 2 or 3 times, and now these younger brothers have fought as well. So that's pretty crazy to me. When have we seen 2 brothers in MMA fight against each other, the older brother and the younger brother? Don't know. Very, very interesting. That would be like Shogun's younger brother and older brother fighting the Overeem brothers. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, he's good. He's got some good striking. I like it. He's very tall, and I thought he would be the favorite because when I watched Magno Diaz, his one loss to Jefferson Rodriguez, not the best fighter. He got hurt multiple times and then he got guillotined. And I'm like, wow, 1-1 guy. He's actually still got a bad record. And, some of these other wins, these are his best wins, the last ones. Alessandro Albuquerque, hilarious last name. And Kaka Cavallo, 3-0, 7-1. But when you go into their wiki capping, it's just typical padded Brazilian jungle fight records. We see him all the time. You see him on Demba, we see him on Jungle Fight, you see him when they go to LFA. So yeah, it's just not the best level of opposition. Jourdain does have better level of opposition, but Jourdain, his last opponent as well, Avil something Hamidov in UAE Warriors. You're like, oh, this guy looks like a good wrestler, good wrestler, grappler. He also hurt Jourdain with a calf kick. And then you look at him and he's bloody 12-7. He's 12-7 and he doesn't have any good wins. And he's getting finished in all his losses. And this is the guy that was able to win a decision over Charles Jourdain. Again, 4 years ago. So, not Charles Jourdain. Louis Jourdain, so 4 years ago, so he would have been like 24. But still, bad look. I mean, the last guy this dude lost to, he has a loss to, how funny is this? He has a loss to unknown fighter. This guy doesn't even have a name. He has a flag and a face, and it says unknown fighter. And sorry, he lost to him. He didn't beat him, but it's just hilarious. He fought unknown fighter. Anyway, yeah, I thought I would like Jourdain, and I kind of do still. I still think he's the side. And if he was $1.70, slight favorite, I'll probably play him. But I don't know. I feel like they're the same age. They're kind of competitive. Jourdain can still be taken down. I watched his last fight. He took 2 years off since the Diego Silva KO. I'm like, let's watch this last fight. He's 28. He's not going to be any better than this at this time. And he still gets taken down easy by Daniel Adriano. That's the thing. He can still be taken down. But ultimately, I think this is going to be scrappy back and forth. I think Jourdain has good heart, good cardio. And I've seen Magno Diaz hurt a bunch, so I think he might be able to swamp him. Maybe he'll come around on the chalk. We'll see if he bounces back. Unfortunately, the fighting nerds are going through a bad period, and I had a feeling like the public would want to faint anyone from fight nerds. So that's the issue. If they were still doing well, I reckon Diaz would have a better line. What's it at currently? It's trending towards -200, which is quite annoying. Big Bird. Only thing stopping me from Jourdain chalk is Brazilian looked a lot sharper last fight. But that's the thing. The guy that he's fought is not that great. And he had super wide stance and just throwing calf kicks. And he still looked quite hittable and slow to me. I think Louis Jourdain, plus he looks massive at the weigh-ins. He should rinse this Brazilian. It should be a massive speed difference. But again, it's Jourdain, brother. How smart is he going to be? But he's fighting a Brazilian. We see Brazilian IQ and Dana White contender series all the time. Alrighty. Main event. Victor Costa versus Damian Baba Yaga Pinas. Right? And the commentators are absolutely petrified of pronouncing Damian's last name. So I will just make up for it and I'll try to pronounce it as many times as I can. So a lot of similarities with these guys, 25, 23, 8-1, 7-1. They're finishing a lot of their opponents. I would say Vitor Costa definitely has the better level of opposition. There's some good, semi-good Brazilians here. 5-1, Miguel Firmino. Actually, this is, I've seen this guy before. This is the Miguel Firmino. I think he was on Ribeiro's record. He's got Fugendes on there. Fabio Aguilar, Simon Bion, yeah, hilarious. But yeah, he's got this Rafael Silva's not bad, and this Eduardo Gabron, 15-4. I looked in his record, not a bad regional guy. But some of these fights he's going to split twice, and when end the round 2 once. But ultimately, he's just coming forward, he's plotting, and he's looking to pressure box you, kind of trying to use some pull counters, move out of the way, but he's eating a lot of shots. He was killed by Cesar Almeida, right? The kickboxer that's in the UFC now, 4-1. A lot of power, no shame in that. So it backfired then. And he's got a couple of guillotines, 3 guillotines. So he'll go for that if you try to take him down. But when grappling starts, it's very sloppy, back and forth. So that's pretty much his game. And he's mostly just knocking dudes out. On the other hand, Damian Pinas, right? 23, younger. And this guy's very, very athletic. Very athletic, but he's fought absolutely nobody. The best guy he's fought is actually Tyler Gomez, who is a good fighter, and it would be a good win. But if it didn't end in under 3 minutes due to an illegal upkick. All right, Tyler Gomez took him down with ease, and Pinas kicked him in the head, knocked him out. He got disqualified. So everyone else, this Gregory, he just fought on PFL, is an absolute cab driver, and he was taking down Pinas and having some success before he got knocked out. But he's a massive cab driver, right? Even this Matos guy, that might be his best win. So, yeah, it's another volatile, main event. I think either guy could potentially die. There's not much adversity on Pinas' side, other than being able to be taken down. He's making a lot of mistakes on the ground. He's a white belt. Apparently, he just got his blue belt. But he's going for guillotines that are not there. He's getting taken down easy. He looks lost on the ground. He looks like he's rolling in the gym and he's trying things and it's not working. But he's very, very athletic, and he just gets up and he knocks these guys out because, again, they're cab drivers. So people said, someone told me you might like the under, and I was like, let me look into it, because if it's anything like the Johnny Barbia under 1.5 that I passed on last week and it hit with basically one punch, I'm going to lock it in. And I don't know, this one feels different, right? This one feels different because Vitor, he's gone over twice to a decision and once over 1.5. Obviously, he was knocked out by Cesar Almeida, but that's like a whole different level of punching power. Pinas as well, like just all bums on his record. And when it was one good, decent guy, he went over by 8 seconds. So I don't know. Actually, he went over twice. Went over in his debut. So I don't know. It's this could be a back and forth war. There could be grappling. From a money line perspective, honestly, I would rather lock in Pinas, and that's just because I love Pinas. You can clip that one. But it just feels like there's a bit of aura about him. He's a very young, athletic kid, and he's got better striking. His striking is very technical, 1-2s, and he fights very long. Whereas Vitor, he plods into range, and he's been cracked many times. He's just kind of wobbling, and then he wins the attritional battle, the brawl in the pocket. But Pinas is more of a sniper. So if I had to choose, I would go with, the Pinas sniper, the sniper Pinas. So yeah, that's where I'm at. But it's another volatile fight, typical Dana Contender Series. But we'll see if there's an angle when props open up tomorrow. Alrighty, this is where we're at. So I do have one play, believe it or not. I have the over 1.5 in the Vagabov fight. But honestly, I'm thinking maybe this Paulo Silva kid is he could maybe get an upset. And if it's going to be an upset, it's probably some sort of submission. But I do have the over. Hopefully it's a competitive fight with a lot of grappling and no sub. Kurtis, Campbell, Demba, Seck. Look, I considered Seck. He just looks much more athletic, but he has a big issue in his jiu-jitsu. So again, I'm leaning the over here as well. Kubanza, Alvidrez. Look, it's a dog or pass at this line. It's going to have to be maybe or the under 1.5, but we'll see. Jourdain, it's Jourdain or pass for me. I think he's the better fighter. And Vitor, Costa, Pinas, money line, very competitive. I don't know if there's an edge. I lean Pinas as a sharper, younger, potentially more powerful striker. And that's it. The under 1.5 is too chalky. It might be accurate. So that's where we're at. So one bet over 1.5. Might force some other bets tomorrow. We'll see. Pirate turned into this over a few other shows. Loyalty. I mean, I'm sure they're all very sharp shows, my friend. You probably made the right decision. Big Bird. Pinas is long. Come on, mate. Put a bit more effort into your jokes. Fire out. Alrighty. That's it. Oh, that's right. The competition. So if you want 3 months, free to the Big Brain MMA Discord, which is like 150 Australian dollars, plus whatever value you're going to get from tailing Dogfather and Pierce and Pirate and all the elite bets in there, or just chatting about fights. Leave a comment of your best bet, money line, prop, or total. It has to be current when you post. I'll check it. I did this years ago. We need at least 10 comments on the video, and the winning bet with the best odds that was posted first, if there's multiple, will win the 3 months. And you have to be subscribed. There has to be 10 comments on the video and 20 likes. And I'll pick the winner. And I'll give you 3 months of free Discord. So 10 comments on the video, 20 likes, a winning bet that cashes. That's a money line, total, or a prop when it comes out tomorrow. And the odds have to be correct at the time that you post. Alrighty. Thank you very much. Like and subscribe. Peace out.